farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest. You're watching Beyond the Blast Doors live.
Friends, we are just hours away from the Book of Boba Fett Season 1 finale, and we are cruising into what will be an exciting end of this limited series. We are confident that we are not going to have a Season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. Why would we? Everyone's going to die. Everyone is going to die. That is the theme here for our predictions here for the Chapter 7 Book of Boba Fett finale predictions. I am, of course, David Amlotti, your host. Happy to be with you on this Tuesday night, talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the characters we think that will live, the ones we believe that will die, the surprise cameos we most likely will not get, and maybe there are some characters that we have absolutely no idea, and they'll just pop up. I mean, how many of us really thought that Cad Bane was going to appear in live action? This guy and about 23 other people that I talk to on a regular basis. It was a really good time. Okay, the way this is going to work, friends, is I'm going to go down a list, and I have characters that I feel are the least important all the way to the most important. And I'm going to talk about what I think their fate is going to be. I see a lot of people just trying to speculate how the episode's going to go. Like most of these episodes, if not all of these episodes, 3 acts, you're going to have a beginning, a middle, and the end. How novel. You're probably going to have to get all the band together. We're outrageously outnumbered. We still have to go to war, probably in the streets of Mos Espa, or maybe, just maybe, the war is coming to the old Hutt Palace. That's right, the old stomping grounds at Jabba. Maybe they're bringing this war right to the footsteps of Boba Fett. That would be pretty exciting to see that fortress under attack. Questions I have, does the Pike Syndicate have spaceships? Of course they do. Stuff is getting blown up. People are dying. There will be outrage. There will be joy. It'll be nothing. That's all it's going to be on Twitter for the next weeks until we honestly, it's going to be that way every day on Twitter until we get Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's what we do as Star Wars fans. We just keep talking about the most recent thing until we get a more new Star Wars thing. Unless it's like The Last Jedi. Crazy idea that people are going to be talking about movies that have been made for years to come. It's what we're passionate about. We're going to talk about it. Enough talking on my part. I want to dive into this. If you have bold predictions, feel free to share those in the live chat. Also, when this stream ends, I'm going to ask that you go down in the comment section and give me your predictions as well, so that way we continue this Star Wars conversation. I'm going to be pretty blunt with all of these. I don't think a lot of the things that I'm going to say are completely outrageous. They feel realistic within the confines of what the Book of Boba Fett has already established. So going from least to most important characters. And here's the thing. There are questions that I know that we want answered. Obviously, at the end of the last episode, does Grogu take the armor or does he take the lightsaber? What is the scale of this war going to be between the Pike Syndicate, Boba Fett, and whoever he can rally? Is there a larger group operating, pulling the strings? Is Crimson Dawn facilitating this? Is the Pike Syndicate actually just one part of this overall cog that is going to reveal itself by the end of this series? I have absolutely no idea. I can tell you personally, I would rather see Crimson Dawn earlier, like before A New Hope, like in the time frame of Solo. I think that would be more fun. Get a live action Darth Maul too. That'd be pretty dope. And then I also want to talk about just how this is going to exist in the larger pantheon of Star Wars stories, which I think it's going to be pretty successful when we're able to look at chapters 1 through 7 all together. So real quick, I'm going to say I decided that I was going to go live with this stream because I thought it would just be more fun for everybody. Who the hell is actually going to take the time to go back and rewatch, 12 minutes of me word vomiting about my predictions for this finale? I think it's a lot more enjoyable for all of us to be able to share this experience together in a live situation. So I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and hit that share button on this stream right now, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on whatever social media you're on. And let's try and double the live chat. And let's get some really cool theories out there and some speculation for what this final episode is going to bring. We got William, we got John, we got Nick in the live chat, we got Matthew. So yeah, go ahead and bring all your friends in and let's have a really good time. And let's start with our characters. We have Madame Garza Fwip. Okay, she is our sexy Twi'lek boss of the sanctuary. It's the cantina on Mos Espa. Personally think that she's dead. She was just right there next to that bomb. Of course, we have the two Pikes walk in, drop off the package, walk on out. I cannot imagine that anyone in that sanctuary actually lives. I think that she's dead, which is unfortunate. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to objectify the character when I make my prior comment, okay? But I was just hoping that she was going to be this very uh, just aggressive boss. I thought she was going to have a larger role in the overall story of this season of Book of Boba Fett. I did not account for 2 episodes focusing on the Mandalorian and going to meet up with Grogu and finding Luke and Ahsoka and all that. I thought all that was going to happen in season 3 of the Mandalorian. So what I thought was going to play out just did not happen, folks. But I thought she was going to be this very powerful, and a sexual being. She's gorgeous, and I thought it was interesting that she would have her males and her females around. I thought that was kind of like the whole thing to kind of show like this greed with reestablishing a wealth system in Mos Espa and across Tatooine with the huts down. But that didn't play out. So I already got that wrong. That's fine. I have Ahsoka here. Ahsoka came up in chapter 6. I don't think that she shows up in chapter 7. I don't think that we're going to see her until Mandalorian season 3. I really think that we're going to be getting her dropped in throughout just to keep us excited for her Ahsoka series. But I think that she's still going to play a minor role in Mandalorian season 3. The Sand People. Now, people are going to be pretty frustrated with me for having the Sand Peoples so low on this list as far as their importance. But my assumption is they are all dead. We saw Boba go back to that campsite. They're all scorched. Better question is, who scorched them? Who scorched them? Was it the Pike Syndicate that scorched them? Was that actually Cad Bane that was starting to track down Boba Fett? I'm not sure. It seems like Boba Fett did not claim anyone's attention until he was able to take over the palace, until he killed Bib Fortuna, until he advanced on the mare. Okay? That's just how I feel. I don't think that Cad Bane really cared until later. We'll see how this plays out. I mentioned the mayor. We'll save him for later. Pelimoto. Here's the reality. I love this character. I think she's a lot of fun. I think it's some fun comedy in Star Wars. She's not showing up. What more do you need from this woman? Okay, she found the part. She helped build this ship for the Mando. Maybe a new paint job. Maybe that's the last scene of Book of Boba Fett. Maybe it's a new paint job for the N1 Starfighter, and it goes off into hyperspace. I have absolutely no idea. But I don't think that we're going to see Peli, even though she appears in 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Paz Vizsla and the Armorer. Putting these 2 together, we obviously saw these 2 in a previous episode, chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. See, I almost said the Mandalorian. It's not. It's the Book of Boba Fett. Listen, sometimes a story takes tangents, and sometimes the main character of a series only talks and is on camera for 10 seconds in 2 episodes. It just sometimes happens. Okay. So my mistake, and I apologize. I do think Paz Vizsla and the Armorer show up at the very end. I don't think that they play a role in this finale, but my hope is what we're setting up for is that foundation for season 3 of The Mandalorian, where it's the Armorer and it's Bo-Katan, and they both want the Darksaber from the Mando. They both want to reclaim Mandalore as their own. I think that you could very easily set that as the foundation. If it's not the final scene of this episode, if there is a post-credit scene, I think it would make a lot of sense for somehow the Armorer and Paz Vizsla to be tracking the Mandalorian, and maybe the Mandalorian is accompanied by Grogu. I don't know. I said Grogu. It's Grogu. Yeah, there we go. That's all right. We have the Rancor and his keeper. Okay, so we're continuing this rapid-fire approach here to these characters. I'm led to believe, based on the limited video we have of Danny Trejo and his tamed Rancor, that he kind of gives like that mysterious, like, he'll be back look. I wonder if he's somehow connected to Cad Bane or the Pikes, and he's going to unleash the Rancor inside the palace. I have absolutely no idea. I've looked at how that palace is designed. I don't see how, if the Rancor is inside the dungeon, I don't know how it gets. I don't think it gets up. I think it's just there. So that seems unrealistic. I think either Danny Trejo or Boba Fett are riding into a battle on top of a baby Rancor. I think it's possible. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Danny Trejo. I'm just not quite sure. But I think that the Rancor does pop up. there seems to be a lot of energy pumped into this Rancor pit for there not to be a payoff here at the end. Or I'm overlooking a very small detail that doesn't matter at all. And that's totally possible. If you think I'm doing a good job right now breaking down these characters and how I think their role is going to play in the story, you let me know in the comment section below. If I need to revisit anything at the end of this, I'll do that for you. Okay, so I've talked about how I did not get right how the wealth system would be reestablished in Mos Espa and Tatooine with the Hutts out of the picture. Okay, so we have the Hutts. I wonder, and I really don't think that we're going to see the Hutts at all. I think that they are puppets. I think they actually got scared off. And I think that they realize that whatever is, there's this larger system that's operating that is pulling the strings on the Pike Syndicate, which I think the theory that Crimson Dawn could be involved is really respectable. I just personally wanted to see Crimson Dawn play out in that more prequel era. Crimson Dawn could definitely be a threat in this time on the Star Wars canon timeline, and that's fine. If you want to bring Kira into the mix too, fine, bring her along. She's like, what, 50, 60, 70? She has a cane at this point. Maybe she has a lightsaber. I don't know. I could be wrong, but we'll see how that plays out. I don't think the Hutts are showing up. The brother sister, although honest to God, that is the best a Hutt has looked on screen since the original Hutt puppet in Return of the Jedi. That looked better than anything. The insert into the original 77 film, what you got in the Phantom Menace. My goodness. I mean, they looked great. What didn't always look great for me were the mods. I think it was an interesting concept, and I'm so fine playing with teenage angst and harkening back to the love affair that George Lucas had in the 1950s, right? The Vespas were really cool. But again, it was a very like Spy Kids design. Like I knew that Robert Rodriguez was behind the mods and was behind the Vespas because there were like 37 mirrors on the Vespas, and it all just felt very much like Spy Kids. And so maybe went a little too far with that. Still a cool concept. I like the idea that they are somehow these kids, these mods have money, and somehow they've acquired wealth and sporty vehicles that have color. You know, I understand that some of the background is the Hutts, you know, impoverished the planet for the most part. And so color was stricken from the palette. We kept everything in tan and dark colors to make people absolutely miserable, which is why most of us really didn't enjoy looking at the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, because there was just so much sand. It's everywhere. It's rough and it's coarse. It's the worst. Okay, so we have Fennec Shand now. So she's lower than probably a lot of people would expect. I've got about 10. I have maybe 10 people ahead of Fennec Shand right now. Okay, I think Fennec Shand is going to survive this episode. We're going to get our band together at the beginning. We have our conflict, which is going to be this mounting war. I think that Fennec Shand is going to make it out. I think she actually flies off in the rehabilitated N1 Starfighter at the end of this. That is what I think. I'm sure I'm not the only person with that theory. More to come here. The Temple. The Temple I have as its own character. We now know, confirmed, StarWars.com, the temple we see under construction in Chapter 6 of Book of Boba Fett is indeed the same temple that we see in flame in The Last Jedi. Okay, because of that, I'm not joking you. I think I might like The Last Jedi more than Force Awakens now. If I look at the sequel trilogy, I might like The Last Jedi more. That's a separate video. That's a separate live stream. But the connectivity, we're flushing things out. I'm on board. I'm enjoying this. I think that the temple, again, like Luke Skywalker, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. We're not seeing the temple again. We're not going back to that planet again. But I would be curious if this episode does start inside the temple. If it doesn't happen in the first 3 minutes of the episode, I don't think that we're going back. My thinking is we're going to go back. We're going to see that Grogu has picked the armor or the lightsaber. Most likely, though, that doesn't happen, because that would seem, if I'm coming up with it, it's not going to happen. Let's be frank. There's a reason why I'm not on the storytelling group for Star Wars. Maybe Luke will just show up with Grogu in this episode and be able to drop him off because he picks the Mando and they have to come and save the day. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong about that. The temple, first 3 to 5 minutes, or we're not going to see it. But I think that the temple needs to be mentioned because of its connectivity to The Last Jedi. It plays a pivotal role. This is Luke Skywalker's academy. The apologetic mayor's assistant and the mayor, I think they're both going to be dead. We're going to find them. They are puppets. They're going to be dead. There's a reason why the mayor ran off a couple of chapters ago. Chrysanthemum, he's going to be in war. He will pull off the arms of somebody. It'd be crazy if there's like a Gandark that showed up and he just ripped the arms off of Gandark, but that's not going to happen. But he's going to kick some ass. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so I mentioned Luke Skywalker and Grogu. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm committing to this. All this is going on the record. And I'm probably absolutely wrong in everything I've said so far, which is kind of the fun of doing a stream like this, having a conversation with you. I've got a couple more characters here. Once I'm done with my character list, I'm going to pop in the live chat and get caught up on everything everyone is saying. I just want you to know that. So if you have a thought, make sure you get in the live chat. Luke and Grogu will not show up until the third act of this episode. I think that's where the suspense is. That's why I think it's unlikely we actually do get to see them back in the temple trying to figure out what Grogu is going to pick. We're just going to know what Grogu picks, whether or not he shows up. Luke, Grogu potentially show up at the last minute to save the Mandalorian. Okay. So Luke had to rescue the Mandalorian and crew at the end of Mandalorian season 2. Maybe this is a rescue part 2. I'm not sure. Rescue 2.0. I don't know what you want to call it. It's clear to me, that Boba Fett and crew are heavily outmatched here. Okay, the Sand People are dead. I think that the people of Freetown are going to show up. Might be like the last Lord of the Rings movie, right? Where it's like there's a hilltop, and like we think that our heroes are going to die, and all of a sudden the people of Freetown at the top of this hill, and the one of the sun's lights behind, and then they just start running down, or maybe they're cruising down. I don't know, but they make one last effort to win the day. And it's still not enough. And then all of a sudden, there's an X-Wing fighter, and Luke Skywalker and Grogu come down. And maybe they're in the battle. I don't know. Maybe Grogu is wielding Yoda's lightsaber. That lightsaber, even for Baby Yoda, seems just way too small. I know it's the right size for Yoda, but I just don't think that saber is meant for Grogu. Maybe Grogu is meant to build his own lightsaber. Maybe he takes the crystal of Yoda's saber and crafts his own. I just also can't imagine that Grogu all of a sudden can wage war with a lightsaber. He is very acrobatic. We've learned that. It seems like he's remembering his training. How much training did he receive at the Jedi Temple? I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to get the answer. That Force vision or the memory that we got in Chapter 6, I do not think that we build off of that in this episode. Would love to see that vision completed. Would love to see a Mace Windu trying to save Grogu. But that I don't know how that lines up, right? Because at that point, that Grogu's getting, slaughtered. I'm pretty sure Mace is already dead, so I don't think that theory works out. Seeing a lot of people talk about that theory that Mace Windu is there. I want Mace Windu to live. I just don't think it's going to happen. Okay, so Luke and Grogu, if they show up, they're going to show up at the end of the episode. That's what I'm saying. They're going to show up in the very end, save the day, and then once again, Grogu is going to be faced with the decision: do I stay or do I go? I think that where Luke talks about how Jedi can't have attachment, I also think that somehow Luke still has attachment. And I thought that was always supposed to be the beautiful thing about Luke, is that somehow he did find balance and was able to have attachment, and there was he loved, and then he was still able to resurrect the Order. And I don't know, that's how I interpreted that scene with him and Leia there at the end of The Last Jedi, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, Pike Syndicates, obviously, they're going to get slaughtered. They're going to be fighting this war. I think that we're going to learn through them what is this larger threat. Crimson Dawn. I know that I've gone on record a lot of times saying that I think that the ultimate baddie of this Star Wars streaming universe is Thrawn. He is this galaxy's Thanos, okay? But I don't think that's what I think it's still. I think it's still Underworld. I think it's still Crimson Dawn. And I think that there's another baddie to get revealed. I don't know who that is. Maybe it is Kira. If it is Crimson Dawn attached, that would be fascinating. If Emilia Clarke shows up as Kira, I will literally have to replace my pants, because I have not seen that coming, and I have not. How would that not leak? I don't know. I mean, we just found out that the Inquisitors are going to be. There's going to be 3 Inquisitors in Obi-Wan Kenobi and May. We just found that out. That's dope. Okay, if Kira shows up, I'd be really happy. Cobb Vanth. Okay. In the battle, I think Cobb Vanth and the people of Freetown show up. They help out Boba Fett. They beat down the Pike Syndicate. I think this is where it gets really interesting. I think what this goes down is Cobb Vanth is going to get back Boba Fett's armor because I think Boba Fett and Cad Bane are going to duel. I think Cad Bane has one last bullet in his blaster, and somehow he's able to penetrate and kill Boba Fett. Boba Fett is dead. The armor goes back to Cobb Vanth. I think that we are going to see Cad Bane, as in times past, realize he's completed an objective, but he knows when to run. He runs. I think that Fennec Shand is going to take that N1 Starfighter. And I think the Mandalorian is now going to take the Fire Spray, the Slave One, Boba Fett Starship, whatever you want to call it, as his new ship. And now we are going to get Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians. I think that they have a possibility of showing up. And now this crew is assembled, and they're going to go, and we are heading to Mandalore for season 3 of The Mandalorian. I didn't think that was, I always thought that was possible. I thought that'd be really cool. It was when we saw the Night of 1,000 Sorrows or whatever that flashback was a couple of chapters ago, and you're seeing dozens and dozens of TIE bombers just bombing the crap out of me. Listen, I did not think that something that scale was possible on TV. That was cinematic. That was film-esque, and I am so excited to see what happens in Mandalorian Season 3. But the point is, Mando needs a new ship, and he gets the Slave One / Fire Spray. Of course, that leaves the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has done his part, right? He's assembled these people. He's reached out to the people of Freetown. Okay. We got a little firepower on this side. And I think that you have the Mando there for that opportunity of Grogu coming and deciding, am I going to stay or am I going to go? And what if, and it's possible, Grogu comes back to save the Mando and friends this one time and then says, okay, now I have to be done. I now know that this was the danger for you. You could have died. I came here. I saved you. I thanked you for how you've taken care of me. But now I have to go with Master Luke. You've got to do the rest of this on your own. I've got to go learn the ways of the Jedi. I think that would be very fascinating. And I think that all I have left here is to say this. There is an outrageous theory. I do want to say thanks to Gannon, Steve, Nick, Matthew, everybody in the live chat. Thanks for being here. Really love talking stars with you, and I'm excited to dive into your comments here in just a minute. 9,000 Tears. Thank you, Patrick, for correcting me. There's a theory involving Han Solo for this episode. Now, everything I have said is 100% speculation. I don't think it's outrageously intelligent what I've told you. But this is fascinating, okay? There's a lot of wants that Han Solo shows up in this episode. And I don't know if that's because we're on Tatooine or if this idea that Han is going to show up on the planet with a temple. I'm not sure. There is this notion that they are going to have Harrison Ford with the same technology we've seen on Luke Skywalker, and he will be bringing Ben Solo to Luke to study at the temple, and that is going to conclude the book of Boba Fett. Now, I could see that in the Ahsoka series, and I could see that maybe in Mando, because Grogu plays maybe a more pivotal role. I think it's interesting that it would be the end of Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, Han has connection to Boba Fett, right? He's the one that jettisoned him in part to the Sarlacc pit. But it almost just feels like we're putting way too much. If that were to happen, it almost feels like it would be way too much. But it sure is fascinating. And I wonder if there is a post-credit scene. And I wonder if it is that where you have the Millennium Falcon coming into the frame, landing. You see the temple off in the distance, maybe. Han escorts a baby Ben Solo to Luke and has them reunite. Why stop there, though? If you're going to have Han, why not have Leia? It seems like a decision they would both want to make together, right? That they're both going to give Ben to Luke to learn the ways of the Force. I think I was talking with a friend of mine, 4 to 5 years old is how old Ben actually would be at this point in time. It could be really interesting. And I think it works really well as a post-credit scene. I am holding out, though, because I'm a brat, and I would rather see the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer be what follows the finale of Book of Boba Fett. I really liked how at the end of season 2, The Mandalorian, we got the teaser for Book of Boba Fett. And I would like that to be continued on here. Now, obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi happens at a different point in the timeline. It's going to happen about 9 years or so before the events of A New Hope. And so, yeah, I'm totally for it. I've definitely come around to that idea. But I also think, how hard they would have to work to get Harrison Ford to come back. Now, that said, I did just read a report that they have used this de-aging technology on Harrison Ford for Indy 5. And supposedly, he might have shot a scene for Book of Boba Fett as Han Solo. I'll believe it when I see it. And I know that's the whole point of these prediction videos, is to really commit yourself to something and see if you're right or wrong. I don't think it happens. But I think if it does, I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are the two people to do the damn thing. What more do they have to prove? This world that they've built is fantastic. I kind of do wish that this would have just been called The Mandalorian Season 3, just because of, how the Mando came back into the story, or maybe there's a larger title, an umbrella that can, be over, Mandalorian and Boba and whatever series falls on, Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic. Maybe that all follows under this umbrella. I don't know. But really, really fascinating thought. Now, because what are the limits now? If Luke looks so good in Chapter 6 of Book of Boba Fett, to do cameos and things like that, it works pretty good. I still think it would be great to have Sebastian Stan, who I think has proven himself the ability to have the acting chops. I don't know how great of an actor Luke Skywalker is. Mark Hamill was a Luke Skywalker is in 1977. He was a believable kid that was down on his luck who stepped up to save the galaxy. That's all I know. And I know that Mark Hamill in Last Jedi gave this unbelievable performance. There was so much pain and conflict and rebirth in that performance. I think Sebastian Stan is a great option. He's already in the Disney family, to allow them to go do really in-depth Luke stuff and not have all the Luke dialogue be done by synthesizer. But that's just me. I'm not ungrateful. I think it's great. If this is what we're going to be doing so that we get more Star Wars with Luke, that's great. Holy crap, that's great. Okay, I've talked incessantly now for 28 minutes, and I appreciate you going on this ride with me. I want to dive into the live chat and see what people are saying as far as predictions, as far as they agree with me or disagree with me. And we'll just see how good of friends we can be after this. So Matthew, right off the bat, says Boba will be the one riding the Rancor. Han is coming, and I think we see at least one Ewok Wicket. I don't think that there's going to be an Ewok. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's interesting. Cobb Vanth will end up with Boba's armor after Boba is killed by Cad, so Matt and I are on the same page. William, Grogu is reunited with Din at the end credit scene. This will lead us into long-awaited season 3. I think you're right. Curious to know how long we wait for season 3 of The Mandalorian. Just because originally it was slated to be December of last year. Obviously, we all know that it got moved. We got Book of Boba Fett instead. Hopefully, we're not waiting until next fall for The Mandalorian season 3. We have Matthew. Grogu is going to snatch the lightsaber and go with Mando. I don't think that he is going to snatch Jedi Master Yoda's lightsaber from Luke Skywalker. But there was that promotional image. I think my buddies over at Hollow Chronicles mentioned this of a yellow crystal and Grogu and Luke, and there's like lightsaber pieces that don't look like they belong to anybody. So I think maybe somewhere along the lines, Grogu will construct a lightsaber. That's pretty cool. Figuring he has to stay with Luke to do that. That's just my thought. Luke better show up to fix this mess he made on Tatooine, says Steve. I don't see how Grogu gets to Tatooine, gets to Mos Espa, saves Din Djarin and company, unless Luke flies him in that X-Wing. Grogu can't fly a ship. He doesn't have a ship. I don't think that Ahsoka's coming around. She said she'll probably, she'll see Luke down the road. I don't think that she's going to pop right back up in the next chapter. I don't think that's how that's going to go. Mr. Rez, says, David, you're on point. Putting that on the screen. Friends, I appreciate the support. I really do. I hope that I've said something that is correct. I swear to God, if Cad Bane dies in this episode, I'm going to bawl. You can't just bring him back like that. One of the greatest entries of any character of all time in Star Wars. I'm not joking. That was traditional space cowboys and the music swelling and coming through the desert, the silhouette. The moment you saw the cowboy hat, I knew, you knew, that was Cad Bane. If you kill him in this next episode, it's a waste. I think it's a waste. John Boffman, keep throwing those predictions out. What's fun is we just don't know. Absolutely right. I'm not coming here to say that I'm going to get anything right. I think I've been very transparent. I don't think that anything I've said has more than like a 5% chance of being correct. Unless, but I do appreciate Mr. Rez the backing. I really do. I need someone to really believe me. And I'm glad that John does too. I really do. Matthew, maybe Han and Chewie bring Luke to Tatooine. Man, I don't know. Is it possible that this, sure, do they come back to Tatooine again after the events of Return of the Jedi? You have Han come back again. You have Luke come back again. Sure. Man, the story always comes back to Tatooine. I can't wait till we get more Star Wars where we're off the sandbox of a planet. I cannot wait. Mr. Rez agrees, though, I think, with Matthew about his idea that Han and Chewie bring Luke to Tatooine. That could be really interesting. Could be really interesting if Chewie does show up. Can you imagine him and Black Chrysanthemum doing any kind of shared on-screen thing? That'd be kind of cool. Just because you have a character that's born out of the comic books, the Dr. Aphra series with Chrysanthemum, and then, Chewie. That would be pretty cool. It's going to be so hard not to talk about this episode and wait for my fellow nerds to watch it. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I waited until Monday of this week to post anything about the Book of Boba Fett from last Wednesday. And honestly, I think that was too long. I think Saturday morning is go time. I think I am going to unleash every thought I have Saturday morning. I just think, why not? And here's the thing too. There will be people that will post spoilers the moment that episode is finished. Once they're done watching, you're going to get those screen grabs up online. It's just going to happen. If you don't want to be spoiled, stay off social media, stay off the internet until you watch it. Honest to God, I don't even know if I make it till Saturday. It might be Friday, friends. I'll wait till Saturday morning. I'll give you till Friday night to watch this episode, and then I'm going to go all out. Nick says Last Jedi is the superior sequel film. Well, I think you're actually right. The more I think about it, and I alluded to this near the top, and it was really out of place, and so I apologize. But I was thinking about it this afternoon, and my biggest gripe with The Force Awakens is it's a great stage setter, but it just completely recycles the format of A New Hope. It is a reboot, and I don't think that advances the story as much as some people want to say it does. Although I thought visually it was a really exceptional movie. The Last Jedi is probably the most unique, true Star Wars story that went somewhere new. And I think maybe the faults that I put on Last Jedi are because I'm not happy with how in The Force Awakens we didn't get that moment with Luke, Leia, and Han. So I think I held that against The Last Jedi for a long time. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm going back to watch The Last Jedi. I will not forgive the out-of-character stuff for Luke. And I think that's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things. I also don't like the Yo Mama joke at the beginning of The Last Jedi. But I think I can forgive those two things compared to other stuff. And then Rise of Skywalker was just an atrocity. There were some really cool things there. I think it's like Attack of the Clones. There were some really great items there. There was a great movie in there somewhere. But it just became, let's throw every possible fan theory in the movie. And honestly, it feels like them going, see, this is what it looks like when you just want when you want all of these fan theories to be real things. Now, just a smorgasbord of fan service, and it was not great. Okay, let's get back to the Book of Boba Fett because that's why we're here. Okay, so final prediction. Patrick says the final battle will be Insanity, Boba Fett heavy. He's going the Godfather route. Seems soft on the criminals at first and comes out more ruthless than ever before. Don't cross him. It would be interesting if Boba Fett just decides, you know what, this order thing, this respect thing, it ain't working out for me. We're going to rule with fear. We're going to do it this way. I think that could be really fascinating. I think the post-credit scene is minimal dialogue of Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Kersantin and giving him the scar. Goes to black Obi-Wan Kenobi. That is fascinating. I would be curious. I don't know. Do we know how Kersantin got the scar? I don't know. If that's that, I love that. That could be something. I never even thought for one moment that Kersantin and Obi-Wan could cross paths, so that's kind of fascinating. Would Cobb Vanth take the name Boba Fett along with the armor? I don't think so. I think Cobb Vanth will stay Cobb Vanth. That's posed to us by Steve. That would be fascinating, like a tribute. But I just don't think that Boba Fett and Cobb Vanth really have like that deep of a relationship. They've had some adventures together, but I don't think this is like this lifelong bond or something. Like we've seen characters have more in-depth relationships, so I'm not going to buy into that. But I think it's a wonderful idea. But maybe it can become Cobb Fett. I don't know. I think that's dangerous. May 4th is a Wednesday. Kenobi will drop on May 4th, the ultimate fan gift. I like that for Matthew. That would be really exciting. And we know because somebody on the staff accidentally leaked that Obi-Wan Kenobi drops in May. So we got that confirmed. So pretty excited about that. I hope other Tusken tribes unite to fight back against the Pikes. Maybe, but again, I'm going to go say no Sand People. They got torched. I'm more curious who torched them. Was it the Pikes? Was it Cad Bane? We're not sure, but I'd like to find out. If you could bring in the Sand People, plus you have the people of Freetown fighting, that could be an interesting dynamic, and maybe like they learn to live together. I don't know. I don't know. That's wild. We just thought of the Sand People as like these, rednecks that lived out in the Tatooine desert, right? That, beat up Luke and they shot up pod racers. And now like there's this culture and this lore. And I mean, I don't know if we need everybody to sing Kumbaya at the end of this. Could the finale take a left turn and end with Boba having the Darksaber? I don't think so, Steve. And here's why I think that. Because I don't think that Boba Fett's initiative or goal ever is Mandalore. Like, I think he has pride in the Mandalore heritage, but I feel like it's also so intertwined with just the pride and love and admiration he has for his father. And he's always been so hell-bent on revenge, towards like Mace Windu. I don't think ruling Mandalore was ever a thing. And he doesn't know about the Darksaber at this point. Now we might find out that here in this episode he does, and maybe he's like, you know what, Tatooine is a lost cause. Maybe Mandalore is what I need to be going after. So maybe it's going to be the armor, Bo-Katan, and Boba Fett trying to get the Darksaber from Mando. I don't know. That seems wild. We've seen Mando and Boba work together already in Mandalorian season 2. So I don't know what that code is. Right? Everyone's out for hire. What is everyone's individual moral code? I guess we got to explain that a little bit more. Trapper Wolf and his Rangers show up. That could be great. I didn't know this until recently. Shout out to the Resistance broadcast celebrating 500 episodes. Whereas I do like 5 months worth of shows and then I take a 6-month sabbatical because life happens. Somehow those three have maintained ultimate consistency, 500 episodes, and they're giving away a Trapper Wolf figure. I think it's badass. I didn't know that existed. Now I want one. I just don't think Boba dies before he's reunited with Omega. That is a really interesting statement from John, but I don't recall Omega and Boba being together. Forgive me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering the series wrong, but I don't remember a moment where Omega and Boba come together. In the live chat, if you can let me know how that happens. Because I don't remember Boba and Omega actually coming together. Boba would have left Camino by then. We don't see Boba in the Bad Batch at all. We see Cad Bane in the Bad Batch, so I'm not quite sure how that works out. Real question, how did Ahsoka get to the Temple planet? I'm not sure. I'm assuming that she knows something to go, she's somehow tied up with Luke somehow. Also, the fact that we had Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano on the same screen together, pretty badass.
If Tatooine is this interesting, I'm very excited to see where Star Wars is going. Right? If we have all the storytelling coming out of Tatooine, my God, what else is in the galaxy? I'm excited. Matthew, the Luke and Leia scene in The Last Jedi was top 5 scene in Star Wars. I love it when Luke winks at C-3PO. Yeah, that was classic. Thought that was really good. Jesse is in the live chat. He says that I have interesting theories. Okay, buddy. I messaged my friend Jesse the moment I saw that Cad Bane had appeared in live action. I thought about all those times that Jesse had told me that I was a fool for thinking that Cad Bane was alive, and I rubbed it in his face immediately. And then he immediately backtracked. And Jesse, I just won't let you have that. I think that we're going to do a Book of Boba Fett retelling, or not retelling, but I think we do a round table of the Book of Boba Fett. We do a round table kind of going through each chapter and reflecting on that series. There we go, with reflection. I think Jesse should be on that. And I think I should be able to get to rub some stuff in his face. I think that'd be great. Gannon, Patrick, he needs to stay Vance so he can be Cobb Vanth of Vanth Refrigeration. Okay. Boba has lost the eye of the tiger and needs to kick some ass to get it back. Steve Heineman, Cobb taking Boba's name wouldn't be out of respect. The name is tied to the armor. He'd have to either repaint it or correct literally everyone he meets. Oh, okay. So, all right. I think that's a valid point. Okay. Well, if the idea that Boba Fett never dies and it can be that armor can be passed down, that's really cool. I just wonder. I don't know how it works out with the Mandalorian being there, and if any other Mandalorians show up, because then you're dealing with the whole, it's Beskar, so only a true Mandalorian can wear it. So I think that's where it gets kind of dangerous. Will we get a Daniel Logan sequence in the finale? I'm not quite sure. B2BD Jesse, I don't think Omega will be part of Book of Boba. I think they'll save that interaction for Bad Batch season 2. I'm with you. I don't think I don't know of any interaction between Boba and Omega. If that does happen, I guess that happens in Bad Batch season 2. I just don't know the circumstance that would happen, because at that point, right, you have a young Boba Fett out there in the galaxy going around. Steve, does Boba's armor get melted down to make armor for Grogu? I guess Grogu gets bigger. I don't know. He's already got the chainmail that the Mando made for him, so I'm not quite sure how that plays out. The armor has to exist. It survived a Sarlacc pit, for Christ's sakes. So the armor is going to continue. And also, here's something too. Maybe Boba Fett doesn't die. I think we're just assuming that he dies. I think we're assuming that for a few reasons. One, he's a secondary character. He was the lead of the first 4 episodes of his own series, and overwhelmingly people are enjoying the chapters without him far more. I'm just saying, and not trying to be a jerk. That seems to be the trend. Boba's armor is given to Max Rebo so he can continue living his best life playing the Valacord. Was Max Rebo in the Sanctuary when it exploded? I don't remember if he was or not. I know a lot of people are concerned about Max Rebo. I would like to know that Max lives to see another day. I wish my madam and her sexy friends weren't dead, but they're definitely goners. There's no way anyone survives that bombing. That was like a terrorist bombing. I think it was wild. Okay, it is 5:51 on this Tuesday night. We are going to wake up and have the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. I'm probably going to wake up early and try and watch it before I go into work, which is going to be wild because I go into work at like 2:45 in the morning or 3 o'clock. So this could be just a complete disaster for my body, but this is what I'm willing to do for my love of Star Wars. What did you think of this prediction video? Was this good? 45 minutes. I tried to really stay on topic, really try to barrel through stuff. Would you like me to do more prediction videos like this? I normally don't do this kind of stuff. But like I said before, my enthusiasm and everything is back. So I do know that I want to do a roundtable discussion on the Book of Boba Fett. If you're at all interested in that, hit me up on Twitter at BTBD Star Wars. Send me a DM, tweet at me. Let me know. I think it'd be really cool to have 5 or 6 people and come up with some prompts and explore some lore and how it compares to what we previously thought we knew about anything and now what we know. So that could be a lot of fun. So really appreciate everyone's time. So happy to have my love of Star Wars reignited. it took it took the Mandalorian and Luke and Grogu and Ahsoka and Cad Bane and Boba Fett and all these action figures coming together in this one episode of the Book of Boba Fett to get me excited. And I'll tell you this, I am so bummed my dad is not here to see this. If Dad would have seen this episode of Book of Boba Fett, man, he'd never say a bad thing about The Last Jedi ever again. He just did not want to see Luke die. He wanted to see Luke kick some ass. And that's what we're probably going to see now because of all the great stories telling that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and crew have cooked up. So thank you so much for joining me for this prediction video. I'm very curious to see what I get right and what I don't get right. And honestly, I know it's going to be mostly wrong, but that's really fun. I'm just thankful that we got to share this moment together and talk Star Wars. Because frankly, that's what I'm about. I'm about community. I'm about Star Wars. I'm about having a good time. Let's see how this goes.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.